Finding the key of the piece can sometimes be really easy. It can just amount to playing a couple notes and then figuring out the key of a piece. But sometimes it can be a lot harder. And for when it actually is a challenge for you, here's a way to actually go through and find the key of a piece of music. So we're going to do this example with a Caesarea Evora song. So I'm going to play the song, and we're going to look for a section of music to find the key from. Of course, it's going to be probably the key for the whole song, but sometimes songs modulate and change keys, so we're just going to look at a small section of music for now. So let's listen and find a good section. Great, so I think that was fine. So let's make a small loop. So I'm going to drag this down to 13 seconds. That's about where we ended. Good. So that'll be fine for what we're doing. We don't need our loop to be precise because we're not doing anything with rhythm or counting or anything like that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to take a guess out of the blue at the note. If you have perfect... So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a guess at what the key is. So most of us don't have perfect pitch, so it's just going to be a completely random guess. If you have perfect pitch, guess what note you think corresponds to the tonic. So here's my random guess. It's C sharp. So I'm going to play the song, and let's see how that note sounds over the song. Okay, so that definitely didn't sound like the key. Let's say it didn't sound very resolved. It sounded, in fact, the opposite. It sounded very restless, kind of tense at some points. It also sounded kind of out of place at some points. So with those aesthetics, okay, I already know what the key is, but just based on that note. But let's say you think that this note, what you have to do is so based on what that note sounded like, you want to make a guess as to its relation to the key. So for me, I already know what its relation to the key is. So just by playing that note, I already know what the key of the piece of music is because I've done this a lot of times. But for you, what you want to do is you want to try to pick whatever relation you think it has. So is it very consonant, like the root or the fifth? Is it very tense, like the tritone or the major seventh or the minor second? All right, so you want to try to ask yourself these questions, and then you want to choose whichever one seems the most suitable. So let's say, based on those questions, we thought that this note C sharp was the tritone. So this was the augmented fourth in the key. So that would mean if this was the augmented fourth, that we would be in the key of G major. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So let's take that as our first guess for the key. So our T1 equals G major. It's a happy sounding song. It's probably in a major key. That's good enough for us for now. Okay. We're not really even so concerned with it being in a major key or a minor key. We're more concerned with getting an accurate pitch inventory. So let's see how T1 sounds over the music, see if it sounds like the tonic. So let's listen to the music again and see how G major sounds, see how G sounds. Okay, so yeah, that didn't really sound right either. Okay, so probably G1 is wrong. Probably it's not in the key of G major. So what we have to do now is we have to go further and we actually have to learn some bits of the music. So we have to actually transcribe some parts of the music. Okay, so the first thing that I would do is I would transcribe the most obvious melody from the clarinet. So let's listen to that melody, and that's what we're going to transcribe. Okay. So let's do that note by note. Let's transcribe. Bum. That was the first note. I already paused it. Bum. Let's try to find it. Bum. There. Okay, found it right away. Okay, I knew what it was. So there's the first note. Okay, so so okay, so the melody is something like that, right? So those are the notes. I'm not too concerned about the rhythm, but those are the notes in order. So right away, that gives us a lot of different notes to work with. So let's write them down in the order that we saw. So A, C sharp, that was our first guess. So A, C sharp. So and there's a B there. And we have A again. And then we have a D, right? And we have an F sharp. And we have a B. We already have the B though. So let's listen again, just make sure that we got that correct. So G, G, so we got a G there, nice. A let's do it like this, you can see it. And then what else do we have after G? Okay, we got all those. We have an E, so that's something new. Those ones we all have. We have a C sharp right at the end. So already we actually have 5, 6, 7 notes in our pitch inventory. So right away, that gives us a really good indication of what the key probably is. So based on these 7 notes, we have all the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And 2 of them are sharp, so 2 sharps. That means either D major or B minor. So probably D major would be a good guess. So let's try making that our second guess. D major. Okay. And let's just hear what D sounds like over the piece of music. Okay. Okay, so did that sound like a tonic to you? To me, that sounded like a tonic. One thing that we definitely noticed is that it was the very last note of the melody. So let's listen to that very last phrase of the melody. And the rest here. Right? So that D is the very last note of the melody. And that definitely sounds like a finished melody there. Right? So that sounds a lot like the tonic. Although I'm pretty satisfied with the answer of D major, let's also just check B minor just to see if that could also be the tonic. So let's do T3 equals B minor. Okay. Don't worry about even doing minor and major, just looking for one tonic note is fine. So T3 equals B minor, and let's hear how B sounds over the song. Definitely doesn't sound as good as D, so probably not B minor. So out of G, D, and B as tonics, we see that D was probably the best choice. And it also coincides with the pitch inventory and the melody ending on D, on the tonic. So the thing that made this piece of music easy was that the clarinet, the melody that it played at the beginning, had used all 7 notes from the major scale. Sometimes you're going to have a little bit of troubles if your melody doesn't use all the notes from the major scale and only uses a handful. Then you're going to have to guess a couple more tonics and you're going to have to try a couple more of them. Remember that if you're really stuck in finding the key, transcribe another element of the music. Transcribe the bass line, or transcribe maybe one of the other notes that you hear in another instrument, maybe not the main melody, if you can. Every little bit will help you in determining the key of the music. Also, make sure that you have a really good understanding of theory, because you need to be able to know what keys a certain group of notes, like let's say these 4 notes, what keys could those 4 notes pertain to? G, A, B flat, and C. Well, those could be in the key of F major, those could be in the key of B flat major, those could be in the key of G minor, D minor. And as always, make sure to practice finesse as much as you can. So don't skip steps 3 and 4 where you make a random guess and then you try to relate that to the key. That's really important. That's really at the heart of transcription. making these relations and trying to hear what different notes sound like in different tonal contexts. Okay, so that's very important, and don't skip that part.